All right, go for it.
Good morning! It's not morning, it's evening, everyone. It's the one and only V, the Gorilla Economist. It is the trading Terrordome, and I have with me the man himself, the AlgoCapitalist. You can check out his work over at the pulsecantrading.com. Check out his trading academy on YouTube at Pulsecan Trading. And with that being said, Mr. AlgoCapitalist Dex, how are you, sir?
What up? What up? Good to be back, my man. Good to be back.
Good for you to be here, my man. Good for you to be here. I'm very excited to have you on, as Borat would say. Very excited. Sorry, man. I was telling you before we got on the air. I was telling Dex how I ate so much delicious breakfast foods at my favorite breakfast cafe here in New York, and I literally passed out. It was the most delicious thing in the world. My insulin levels went sky high, and my God, the waffles they make are incredible, man. So I freaked out and I went to sleep instead of working.
That's
And
what
I have
happens when
all
you have a
this
big meal.
energy, man. I don't know what to do. I'm drinking a fresh cup of dark roast. I actually feel like I just woke up. It's wonderful.
Mm-mm-mm.
Uh,
Your boy Buffett is speaking right now. You will never believe what he's speaking about.
what is my man Jimmy Buffett talking about?
Fighting
Talking about
poverty.
Jimmy Buffett or Warren Buffett?
Warren Buffett.
Oh, he's not my
Fighting,
boy.
fighting poverty.
Oh God, what's he saying?
I don't think he would know poverty if it smacked him in the face.
I don't think he'd know poverty if it creeped up behind him and gave him a wedgie.
He still wouldn't know it. So I think that's pretty interesting. He's been on CNBC all morning long. With his girlfriend. What's the chick that always oogles and ogles with him? And she's the only one that interviews him when he comes on too. You know what I'm talking about, the chick, the one reporter,
Oh,
the same one he took up in the helicopter one that time.
I forgot her name.
Yeah, I know. Ever since Maria Bartiromo left, I done forgot who the people are. But I guess the biggest thing though is this whole nutcase in Nevada. I know you
Yeah.
heard about that.
Oh yeah, the guy in the retirement home who just like barely could walk and dribble his food, and he was able to go up there and shoot up over 500 people. I know that guy.
Yeah, and the sad part is, man, he's a native, so it's not Al Qaeda. He is from there. He lives there. So the police were able to apprehend him per se. They killed him. And then his, chick gets away. The funny thing is that, the whole Joker meme is in full effect. You know, we we glorified the Joker and his girlfriend, even gave them their own movie. Okay. Now, when you have the Joker and his girlfriend in real life acting upon said memes, now all of a sudden it's a problem. But this is what you get when you have a fake news media like we have. All the major news outlets is fake news. They've been pumping up memes of violence and murder towards our president. And they've been laughing about it, calling it cool. You have news anchors doing memes of them chopping his head off and shooting him and blood splattering all over them and all types of just, foolishness.
Yeah.
So you have awoken news media, all of the nuts in the US of A who are on antidepressants and all other type of mood altering drugs. Now they've come out and guess what? They're acting out. Isn't this what you've been pushing for? So how are you going to say peace and how are you going to say world peace and let's all get along when every day someone on the media is glorifying violence? I don't even the View or in on it, and they talk foolishness about the president. Now,
Yeah.
this is what you get, folks. So we are just beginning to reap as a country what we have been sowing. All
Yes.
right. And that's what's going on. And here's the sadder part. All right. The markets could care less. This is Terrordome Tuesday, and the markets could care less about what's happening on its own soil. Instead, what do you have? All the indexes hitting new all-time highs. You got the S&P at 6,000, man.
That's normal.
6,000. That's a
That's
1,000 points
normal.
higher than it was before the original NASDAQ bubble popped in 2000. It hit 5,000 back then. And it took 18 years to recover. We're just now recovering in the NASDAQ. But the markets don't care.
Correct.
All types of ridiculous economic indicators coming out, and the markets don't care.
They don't give one hooey.
No. North Korea firing all types of ballistic missiles, talking reckless and greasy toward everybody else, and the markets don't care.
Yes.
So you have to ask yourself a question. I wonder why that is.
Because the markets they're like sociopathic.
Yes, and it's because it's 1987 all over again. In 1987, everything was peaceful and calm. And then out of nowhere, the Dow is down 500 points. That's what's about to happen. When it's all quiet and calm and everything is peaches and cream, that's when they hit you with the okey doke. And I don't think people understand the gravity of 1987.
Yep.
It wasn't just the percentage that the Dow went down. It wasn't just the fact that it lost 500 points. Just so you know, if you want to put things in equal perspective, that would be the equivalent of the Dow falling and closing down 5,000 points today. All right. Now, the problem with the 1987 situation is that the country was on the verge of bankruptcy that day. They were struggling and scrambling to fill all those tickets, all those trade tickets. They have to be cleared by the end of the day. If they are not cleared, then all you know what breaks out. Because now we're talking about bankruptcy. And we were teetering on the edge of financial collapse. And that's what most people don't know, because that's what was happening behind the scenes. It was a tragic day. And they managed to pull it together until 9/11. When 9/11 happened, 1987 happened again, but this time in reality. And there was nothing they could do this time to fix it. There was no way that they would be able to clear all of those trades by the end of the day, because it would have kept coming. The trades would have kept coming. So that's why they had to close the markets, and then they had to bust every trade ticket globally. I want that to manifest in your spirit. They were able to bust every global trade, not just the trades here in the US. They even went so far, because that wasn't good enough. They had to erase the entire day. And then they erased the week by closing the markets for a week. If you go back and check any website anywhere on the planet, you will not find data for 9/11. It's as if September the 10th, 2001 came and went, and the next day was September the 15th. It was absolute pandemonium. The country was bankrupt, not on the verge of bankrupt. We were done. We were over, finished. Do you know the amount of sheer volume of sell orders that came in on 9/11? It broke the market. That's why they had to close it. It broke it. All the circuit breakers weren't working. They couldn't contain it. Everything was locked limit down. Back then, you had limits on the futures contracts. You had these circuit breakers, and they would close the market for 5 minutes. Well, this time they didn't keep the markets closed for 5 minutes. The market stayed closed for like 20, 30 minutes. And they had no choice but to let the futures ride. And when they reopened it, they went lock limit again immediately the second they reopened the market. America was in trouble. She was brought to her knees. So what did they do? They said, we don't have a choice. We have to stop everything, close the markets. Now, for you all who don't realize the gravity of what I'm saying, you have the benefit of being alive today. Some of you who are listening to this, maybe you were not alive when this happened. Maybe you were babies, I don't know. Or maybe you're off doing something else. But you need to understand the gravity of what I am saying so that you can understand what's about to happen. From 1990 to the 2001 situation, remember, America was a baby in the information age. That was the beginning of the information age going global. They were building the internet. All right. There was no YouTube. All right. No Twitter, no Tinder, none of that stuff.
Hey,
all right.
man.
No Facebook,
That was
nothing
the
of that.
Dark Ages. That was the Dark Ages.
Dark Ages. Okay. So you have to really, I want you to read between the lines of what I'm saying. We had no global economy then. The economy was not global. It was not global. You had aspects of framework being built for global stuff, but at that point, China was still closed. It was not fully on board yet. China was still a closed country. If you would have tried to trade with them, they would have been like, you could have took a big old cargo ship up to the waters, saying, "Hey, we got something for you, just a sign of good faith." And you know what they would have said? "Thank you for the products. Now turn around and go home." That's what you were dealing with back then. Also, don't forget, during this time, you were still under the Deutschmark because the euro had not yet come into being. All right. So, right as the euro was coming into being, you had your 9/11. And what happened was some kind of way, and they were able to do this immediately. Immediately, wrap your hands around this. They were able to shut down the New York Stock Exchange.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All the futures exchanges.
Yes.
All the commodity and forex exchanges.
Yep.
Not just here, but everywhere else. They stopped, almost like on a drop of a dime. Like someone waved their hands and just everything stopped. You have to ask yourself, how was that possible when we don't have everything connected like we do now? See, now today, you can literally push a button and trading would cease all over the planet. Everything's connected globally now. Back then, it wasn't like that. It was hard. You still had firms that existed solely to trade arbitrage. So if Microsoft stock was trading at this price here in New York and then trading at a different price over in London, you had firms that would go in and trade that and bring the prices back into balance. That's how they ate. They were all arbitrage. That's what they did. They would feed on these instruments, and then when the instruments came back into alignment, they would get out. All right. You don't have that anymore. Arbitrage, what? That's a game of the past. Everything is electronically and mark to market. Everything. So here's what I am suggesting. I'm going to tell you what I'm saying, then tell you what I'm suggesting. What I am saying is that 20, 30 years ago, you had the infrastructure and the ideas and the plans laid down, but you didn't have the fruition yet. When 9/11 happened, all of a sudden, boom, like a magic wand, everything stops and closes and they eradicate all data for all products, all products. Some exchanges have hundreds of products.
Yeah.
Every exchange around the world stops. Just stops. For 1 week. It was just over the top. And now we have a situation where everything is connected globally now, as if it's just one exchange. So if back then we had an accident per se, then what makes it today? You can't claim ignorance. You can't claim accident today when everything is connected. There's no reason for the stock market to go down right now. It can absorb profit taking along the way, which some people do. All right. It can absorb that right now. It would take something catastrophic to bring this market down. Either catastrophic, like a natural disaster catastrophic is what I'm talking about. All right. Now, believe it or not, war breaking out would not bring down this market. As a matter of fact, if World War III were to break out right now, you ain't seen highs in the market yet. The Dow would probably surge 5 billion points because war is profit.
War is racist.
It's that too. So what I'm suggesting, I told you what I'm saying, now I'm tell you what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is we're going to have another 1987 event in the not too distant future, but it's going to be done on purpose for whatever reason. Now, I tell you what I think the end game is for. Now, we here at the Rogue Money Show,
yay,
with the Trading Terrordome, pride ourselves in giving you information that you will not get anywhere else. It was the first time you heard us tell you that the blockchain technology had been infiltrated. It was on this show that you heard that the players in Bitcoin had changed and that the central banks were involved and large corporations were involved. Nobody wanted to hear it, and they said I was an idiot. Now, guess what? Hot off the press, the nations of the world have already come out and announced that they're creating their own blockchain. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and they're going to put everything that you know and love on said blockchain. I told you it was coming, and it's here, folks. It has now arrived. Okay? You don't want this new system, but it is about to be forced upon you. How is it going to be forced upon you? They got to first do away with the old system. What better way to do away with the old system than to bring it down manually? It's called controlled demolition. You know, our country is expert at controlled demolitions.
You mean
9/11.
like the time when a 110-story steel structure can fall into its own footprint, using it the path of most resistance in under 10 seconds? You mean like that controlled demolition? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
because you know fire can burn anything. You know that.
Fire can melt steel. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
fire
can.
can melt steel. Yep. All you do is
Construction grade iron. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
turn your Bunsen burner to 300 degrees and it'll melt. Yeah, it'll melt anything.
Man, I turn on my stove to make myself some delicious food, especially when I want to make my famous pasta sauce that my aunt Rossellini has once taught me. And every time I turn on the stove, my stove melts. Did you know that? Because of the fire.
Exactly. And sometimes every time you use it, it starts a fire.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They want people believe it now, just like they believe that ice can cut through steel.
Yes, ice can.
Unbelievable, man. So here's the thing. We know what's coming, folks. You know what the end game is. Everything's going on the blockchain, and it's going to be done by force. You're not going to have an opportunity or an option to do it. Now, there's a few ways this can go. I'm hoping that the latter is not the option that they use. The latter, or the demolition option, the nuclear option, is when they make it illegal to use any other means. That is going to be the worst. Because if that happens, guess what? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, all of those go to zero.
No, it doesn't.
Now I'm going to tell you why.
It's not going to go to zero.
I'm going to tell you why. Hear me out.
You finish this up, and I'm going to tell you why.
Hear me out.
I'm going to take you to task after this. Go ahead.
Hear me out. The reason it will go to zero if they use this nuclear option, all right, if they use this nuclear option, is because trading in it is going to be illegal. Mm-hmm. Not only will they shut down all the exchanges like China did, but they'll make it illegal.
China didn't shut down the exchanges. That is a myth, bro. People keep repeating that, but go ahead.
I'm about to get to that. That's all they have to do. They can say this is illegal, and anyone who is trading in it is going to be taxed. We'll make it so that all the exchanges have to record all the transactions, blah, blah, blah. They'll make it so that it has to be shut down. Therefore, if there's no economic benefit in it, it makes people go away. That's what I mean when it says they'll go to zero, because everyone's going to get out because they have to get out. That's a nuclear option. I don't think they're going to go that far, simply because of this next point. The reason why I believe that you're going to be forced to use this new system is the same way they got rid of the VHS and eventually the CD. They just make it so that it's unavailable, and that you don't have a choice. If you want to get your money, you have to sign here, sign there, and then use this new technology.
So let me ask you a question. So if since they banned VHS and CDs and all that other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even in that time during the transitions, were you still able to pirate movies?
Absolutely.
Aha. So let me ask you this: when countries like Venezuela says we're banning Bitcoin, and Bitcoin usage is up, did that stop? Did any government see? Governments can't stop it. That's what you have to understand. They can't stop it. It's beyond their grasp. They can't infiltrate the blockchain. Why? That blockchain is an open source code. Now, if these idiots want to come up with their own blockchain, then
that's exactly what they're doing. That's what I mean.
Then it's not a blockchain. Then it's just a closed ledger.
Correct.
Right. So they can't have a closed ledger and then call it a blockchain.
That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing.
Because they're not going to participate. Because most of the people that are in cryptos, they're not doing this for investment and trading purposes. They're using it as an alternative to fiat currency.
Correct.
That's what they're utilizing it for. So they can't stop this. And then what they're going to have? They already have atomic swap set in. You know what that is? Now I can go in and out from Bitcoin to Litecoin to Ethereum without even going through an exchange. I don't have to use a Coinbase anymore. I don't have to use Kraken. I don't have to use GDocs. I don't have to use any of those guys. I could go right through that. And then in terms of the Chinese shutting down cryptos, Chinese are the biggest supporters of crypto. They love it. There's 43 approved and active exchanges in China. The ones that were shut down were the Ponzi scheme ones where there was no cryptos to back up the initial investors' investment. There was no crypto there. China cracked that down because they don't want that dishonesty. And even
everything you're saying is right. Everything you're saying is absolutely correct.
Right, and the largest Bitcoin, right, and the largest crypto exchange, okay, the largest crypto exchange in China, okay, the largest crypto exchange in China. They themselves have said, we didn't hear anything about that the government is shutting down crypto exchanges. They didn't even hear about it.
That's true. But see, that's not what I'm saying. Everything you're saying is absolutely true. I mean, it's facts. There's no argument. What I am saying, though, is I want you to peep this. That's not what I'm saying. In other words, all right, right now, the majority of people that are operating in the crypto space are there purely for speculation. They're not there for commerce. They're there for speculation. They're trading. They're trading it. Once that liquidity dries up, then the price volatility goes away, the currency itself flatlines, and those who want to use it as a mode and medium of exchange are still free to do so, but the financial incentive to speculate in it is gone. Are you following what I'm saying? So that will change it.
Of course it will.
Yeah, you still have people using it. I mean, it's still people watching Betamax. They kept their old Betamax machines in Betamaxes.
Right.
But my point is, the way you see the crypto space now, if when they come in and make it illegal and they force you to use their own, it's going to take all the volatility out of the market and all the speculators will be gone. That's how markets work. Once the fad of it goes away, then usually the prices follow right behind it. My case in point, my number one case in point of all time, Yahoo. Yahoo stock at one point was a $300 stock.
Mhm.
Once Google came into the space and everyone started using the Google search engine, look at Yahoo stock today.
Yeah, but Yahoo is not Bitcoin.
But Bitcoin
Yahoo,
is still a market. See,
no,
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the market aspect of it, the speculative aspect of it.
That's fine. They could ban the gold market tomorrow, and say, you know what, we're taking away that you can't buy gold. That's not going to stop anybody from buying gold. That's not going to stop anybody from buying silver. Just because you take a trade market away from an underlying asset doesn't mean the asset is worthless.
No, well, I'm not saying worthless. I'm saying the volatility is going to be taken away. Therefore, the price is going to come way down because there's no speculative. There's no liquidity. There's no financial incentive.
Okay, well that's wrong then. You know why? Because supply and demand naturally exists on the blockchain. So it's going to create its own price highs. How do you think there are certain? I mean, there's cryptos right now that are not traded on an exchange, but their values are higher because there's more of a demand for it. Like go on a Coinbase. I can't trade Monero on a Coinbase.
Yeah,
I can't go on, I can't.
Said it in the chat. Not worthless, just worth less. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, let it be worth less. That's fine, but the value is not going to go to zero because it has utilitarian functions. It's still fungible. It still uses the means of exchange. People see the value in it, and there's a decentralizing trend that these guys in government don't get, and they're the ones behind the bell curve.
Okay, let me put it to you a different way.
Okay,
10 years ago, Bitcoin was trading in pennies, and you had a handful of people in that market. Today, you have like 1 billion people in that market, and the price is over $4,000. When those billion people go away, and now you're back down to a handful of people in it, the price is going to collapse tremendously. That's what I'm saying. That's only if the Fed gets their way and they use the nuclear option and make it so that it's illegal to even operate in said market. If they don't do that, here's what's going to happen. That's why I'm thinking they're going to go that way. It's right now, the blockchain itself is being looked at as a threat to national security. That's number one. Number two, the cryptos themselves are being looked at as a threat to national security. All right, let me break it down. The blockchain's technology, the governments of the world have seen the light. They see the limitless power of the blockchain. So they want that power for themselves. Number two, the cryptos are not in and of themselves have no intrinsic value. So that's, you would say, so they're not a threat, right? No. The cryptos are a direct challenge and threat to all fiat currencies globally. So that is seen as a threat to national security. So they have to do something to put an end to it. So how do you take away the challenger? You have to beef up your current champion to knock that new person out, or you have to do something to get rid of them. So right now, what they're trying to do, governments of the world have decided you can't beat them, join them approach. So they're saying, okay, let's make our own blockchains, or like you say, a ledger, because that's really what it is, and not really an organic blockchain. And then they're saying, let's put all of our fiat currencies on said blockchain. So we'll make all of our currencies digital. That way, we're taking some of the air and some of the sting out of what the cryptos are doing to the currencies around the world. So that is where we are right now. This is where we are. The only thing that's going to put a little wrench in that is if a war breaks out. Once a war breaks out, then everything takes a back seat, to conflict. So at that point, I think that's where they want to rush to get this thing done before a war does break out. And that way they can control not only the media better, not only information better, but then they control individual people better too, and people groups, because that blockchain is off the chain. It is going to end up being, once they militarize it, it's going to be a control mechanism where they will be able to track your every freaking movement, and they'll be able to do it in real time, and they'll be able to see you and have audio and visual for every human being on the planet. That is their goal. Believe it or not, that's where we are, folks. I'll let everybody let that marinate for a minute.
With that being said, sir, what else is on your radar?
Gold and silver, man. We got to talk. We got to pull up a chair and talk about this gold and silver, man. These metals. All right. The central banks have been meddling in the metals. The sharks have seen the blood in the water. I did a few videos ago showing you where the metals were in jeopardy of bumping their head at the bottom of the Kumo cloud. That's exactly what has happened. So, where do we go from here? All things being equal, we're about to go much lower. I think silver's about to fall into the $15 handle, and gold right now is in jeopardy of falling into the $11.50 handle. So, where does that put you? Well, if you are a stacker, it gives you the opportunity to purchase some more physicals at a much lower price. For those of you who are looking to use some of your physicals for living expenses, then you're probably going to want to start a systematic cashing out now, because the prices are looking to be headed much, much lower. I do not know what can turn this around from a fundamental standpoint. I can only tell you what the technicals are showing right now. And right now, on the technical level, we have much selling entering into the market. Can this stop at some point? Yeah, it's possible. But right now, I think the precious metal markets are being news driven. I've been hearing a lot of people around the internet calling for $100 silver and all this other stuff. They're late to the party. I already told you that gold and silver and the miners are going to have 1,000% increase, but we haven't finished the bottoms yet. And I'm just letting you know here in the short term what it's looking like. It's looking like we're about to see much lower prices, folks. We have a short-term top in both gold and silver. And right now, it's funny because the Fed is allowing the dollar to strengthen while smacking down the bonds. What they're doing is opening up the door for higher interest rates in this last quarter. So I do see one more rate hike possibly coming in between meetings, especially with bonds. Here we are about to flirt with 151 on the long bond, or the strong bond, I like to call it. So it's not looking so good right now as far as rates. It's looking like they're going to go up. And I think that's what they were doing all along. That's why they didn't raise it in the last meeting, because they were waiting for the bond prices to come off. The lower the bond price, then the easier it is for them to raise the rates without it reverberating throughout the markets in a in an unforeseen way, without very minimum consequence. So that's where we are right now. Tom in the live chat says a man must have his dream. I tell you. Well, let me tell you. I had a dream. I had a weird dream. All right, I have to tell you this. I dreamt that Cedric the Entertainer became the president. He became the president.
Mm-hmm.
And
who was his VP? Was it Steve Harvey?
I didn't see his VP. I just saw him. And when Cedric the Entertainer was made the president not long after that, you won't believe this, he turned into the Antichrist. He was the Antichrist. It was crazy. It was real crazy. I know I'm bugging. I'm just telling you what I saw in my dream. It was so vivid. It was vivid, and I was. You should have saw his eyes and stuff. Like he, I mean, this it's like his whole disposition, his whole countenance changed. It was crazy, man. But anyway, I had to tell you guys that because I just remember it. I had to get that off my chest. All right. So anyway, yeah, the metals aren't looking too sweet right now. And right now, there's no end in sight with the stock market. I did tell you guys that XIV was going to hit 100. Right now, we hit so far today $100.65 in the XIV. I told you that. Now, Nvidia did not hit 200 like I was calling for. It got into the 190s, but didn't hit 200. So I think we're in a basing out pattern now with Nvidia, and it's about to make that run one more time. And this time, I think it's going to crack that 200. So I'm still calling for the $200 Nvidia. And once we finish building this base, it should blast off. GDXJ, man, believe it or not, it's really holding its own. It's trying to stay in here. It's trying to stay relevant. And if it can continue to fight, and we can regain momentum, this is the third week in a row where we've lost momentum. All right, if it can regain momentum here and close above $34.43 this week, then it does open the door to a run back up to 36. And if it can do that, then we get back into the Kumo cloud, and the market can start to build support for another run back up out the cloud above $40. So believe it or not, GDXJ is actually looking pretty good right now. So the miners are looking okay. All right, now as far as Bitcoin, all right, everybody wants to know, what do you think about the coins? Okay. All right, well, Bitcoin is taking a breath right here around this $4,200 mark, trying to build a base for support. I think support's going to be between 42 even and 4,000. That would be a healthy base if it's going to make another run up to 5,000. However, if it cannot hold, if 4,000 does not hold, then we go back down to the next support, which is going to be around maybe 3,500. So that's where we are right now. For those who missed my video, my pre-market pulse scan, where I told you where the markets were likely headed at this point, well, that's what's happening now. I gave you the crash alerts the other day for the week, and so far the cryptos are doing exactly as the market had called for it to do. The only thing that's not rolling over yet is the stock indexes. They're kind of holding on right now, but crude oil already rolled over, just like the system said it would. Gold and silver have pulled back, just like the system said it would. And everything is starting to fall into a pattern. I also told you guys when the euro was at 120 the other week, I said 117 to 115 would be the target. Well, right now, we just bounced off of 117.43. Last week, we were at 120.
Right.
So everything's going according to the system's readings. And those algos have been screaming right now. And I cannot get this 1987 out of my head, man. Every day I do the end of day report, the algos are just screaming at me 1987, 1987, 1987. So all I can tell you guys is just be ready for just about anything. I think these markets are about to just do some very ignorant things. It's going to scare a lot of people to death. And Bitcoin is one of them, folks. All right. Please do not be married to these crypto markets like that. All right. The central banks are operating in them. So are large institutions. They can kick these markets around. For the most part, they're still thinly traded. And don't be surprised if you see a flash crash within the next couple of days in the cryptos, especially in Bitcoin. For those who don't know what I'm saying, a flash crash is when the market spikes down huge intraday and then kind of recovers toward the end of the day or the next day. So it's enough to scare people to death.
I hope there's a flash crash. I'll be backing up the truck, buddy.
Who you telling?
I mean, that,
Look,
let there be a flash crash in Bitcoin. Come on. The last one was what? It took us down to what? 30, 34,
36, 34. Yeah,
36?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Look,
I
look,
bought up, baby. I bought. You don't think I bought? I bought.
look, look. Let's put the disclaimers out here, folks. Even though you hear me and V talking back and forth, please don't think for 1 minute that we would not operate in these markets. When I'm talking markets, you better believe I am long something. And when it comes to the cryptos, yes, I am holding some cryptos. All right, duh. And yes, if the markets go down, I will be just like V said. I will go in there and I will buy as much as I can. Same thing with the metals. And please don't get it twisted. I do hope that the metals pull back here on the futures contracts. I would love to be long silver at 15 because when it goes back up to 30, we could do this broadcast from my yacht in the Mediterranean. How about that?
That's it.
So
That's
please don't
it.
get it twisted, folks, in what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, crashing markets is an opportunity for the wealthy to buy cheap. Don't ever forget that.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right? Don't ever forget that, folks. So, Black Ops Trading is in the house. Postwavetrading.com. What else you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. I think that covers the gambit. What else you got?
Well, hack is above 30. That's
Uh-oh.
not good for anybody.
Uh-oh.
Hack above 30, folks.
Well,
All right?
that means there's a hack coming, folks. There's
Uh,
a hack. There's a hacker coming.
every day that hack is above $30, there is some shenanigans going on somewhere. There's a hack or something going on somewhere, some kind of compromise somewhere. Just understand that. That is the global elites' private ticker, if you will. That's their pager. All right. If this thing goes off at 30 and above and stays there, something's coming.
Mm.
And the last time it hit 30, right after that, what did we hear about? Equifax. And ever since that news has come out, we've stayed above 30. So you can time every major hack that's happened around the ticker hack.
Yep.
And I was the first person to bring that to your attention. Now everybody else wants to talk about hack. It's like everybody wants to talk about GBTC. No one talked about GBTC until I talked about it.
Well, I don't want to talk about that, and I don't want to talk about the LGBTs either.
Oh, there you go. Now, GBTC is something that you can trade as the Bitcoin ETF. And speaking of which,
I'm going to
guess
create my own coin and ETF called LGBTQ.
you're too late. The exchanges are already about to roll out several
Ah,
of
they
them.
got an LGBTQ exchange coming up.
Nah, but they got a new GBTC.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a whole bunch of new coin ETFs. Most of them are going to be um, following the Bitcoin, but there's some others that they're going to be following too. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who do not know, here at the Postway Trading, we're going to be adding several new cryptos to the list, like EOS, NEO, ZEC, XMR, OMG, and a whole bunch of other ones. Because now they are putting them on the exchange. And guess what, folks? Veritasium is now available. It's available, man. And they're quoting it in dollars.
nice.
So, yes. Yes, BitConnect, I'm going to add that too. And Bitcoin Cash and a few others. Yeah, man. The list is getting long now. So I'm going to be working on those tonight for them to be in on tomorrow's Pulse Waves.
Mm-hmm.
So Lord willing, that's what we're going to do. But I'm going to be adding new cryptos easy every day as much as they come out. I put in a few feelers out there to the exchanges to make this happen. Just so you guys know, the Veritasium being put out like that on the exchanges like that is a really, really, really big deal. I think you guys need to start to do the knowledge to that. That Veritasium or Veritasium, however you want to say it, I'm telling you, this is a huge move. I've been waiting for a long time for this. Now that they're quoting it in dollars, folks. So I gotta say, do the knowledge to that. You know, ask Reggie Middleton for perspectives. Before and seek your financial consultant before investing in Veritasium. Oh, and for full disclosure, yes, I do own some Veritas.
Absolutely. I got to get me some of that.
Yeah, it should be a little bit easier to get now. Mine was gifted to me, so I can't front. I didn't buy it. It was given to me.
The gift.
Yep. Veritasm, the gift that keeps on giving.
That's it, brother. That's it. With that being said, folks, we're at the end of the broadcast. Dex, how can people follow you and get involved in the Trading Terrordome?
PulseWaveTrading.com, folks. PulseWaveTrading.com. Come and take the study course right now. I'm running a special. If you purchase a subscription to the weekly Pulse Wave price triggers, you get free access to the Learning Academy, and you get the study course for free.
Absolutely.
That's right. And I'm offering a 7-day trial that you can come in and test it out.
Yep.
So take advantage of the 7-day free trial. It's not going to be here for that long, but 7-day free trial, money back guarantee. Come peep it.
That's what's up. With that being said, folks, I am the one supreme ape lord himself. Just relaxing, eating waffles and bananas, and drinking dark roast while I enjoy the rest of the day. I'm really tired. I think I'll go take another nap, man.
You know, it was that breakfast you had, man. It was them waffles.
That's what it was, man. It was the cinnamon bun waffles. Oh my God, it was so good. Epic.
I saw that picture, man. I went to that website. That thing was off the chain.
Bro, their steak and eggs. You know what they do with steak and eggs? They cut beautiful slivers of ribeye. Oh, perfectly seared on the outside, beautiful and medium rare on the inside. Just as the way the ape likes it, with my what is it, poached eggs on the side with slices of avocados, a little bit of potatoes as their little version of home fries, my man. It's so
you just showing off now, man.
Wait till you come up here, man. I'm going to take you out, bro. You're gonna gain like 10 pounds with me. I promise you.
Oh, I know. New York got the best food, man, in the country. I know about that.
Man, I'm telling you, bro. Yo, man.
It's the little vendors on the corner that you got.
Yeah,
food with.
buddy. We're gonna go to Wall Street because you know what? We should do a broadcast from Wall Street. You come up to New York. Let's do a broadcast from Wall Street, and then we'll go to that famous lobster roll place right there in Southside Seaport, right near Wall Street. They get the best lobster rolls you've ever eaten. We'll eat a couple of those.
Okay, that's what's up.
Then we'll go to the Federal Grill and have some of their little beef tongue sliders. Whoo!
See, you messing up, man. And then and you expect me to hang up after hearing that?
Brother,
nah, you gonna feed me now. I ain't going nowhere. You gonna feed me.
You come up. Why don't we do a show from Wall Street? That'd be great, man.
Right from the bull.
Right from the bull. We'll do it from the bull. We'll do it standing right outside the closing bell. Do the whole interview. We'll be incognito. We'll make sure our faces are pixelated.
Yeah, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, we don't have to do that.
We got kids. We have to do that.
You gotta do that. I'll stand over there and I'll make sure that my massive gorilla arms are in full display.
I'll ask MF Doom if I can borrow his mask.
Who's MF Doom?
You don't know MF Doom?
No.
Oh man, King Ghidorah, man, you don't know MF Doom? Mad villain?
Okay.
Actually, he is the dude from KMD back in the day. Remember that song Peach Fuzz?
No.
That's what. Anyway, he's a legend. He's one of the greatest MCs of all time.
We're gonna get two helmets that look like that group Daft Punk.
I heard of them.
Yeah, we'll get like two helmets from there, and we'll just like do the whole thing. It'd be crazy.
Hey, let's do it. Let's make it do what it do.
Yeah,
I gotta get that Doom mask though. I gotta get that Doom mask.
Live from Wall Street, CJ could join us on Hangouts.
That'll work.
Unless we get CJ up there, and CJ could like have his own little setup on the side. He'd be like the mobile producer extraordinaire. CJ, wouldn't that be great?
Let's make it happen,
dude. It'd be killer.
Let's do it.
All right, we're over and out. Take it away, CJ.